Hello, hello. So good to be with you guys. I feel like I have not been on here very much because I was sick. I had a little sojourn to San Diego and had so much fun. And then I came home after having a marathon of seeing friends and doing things, and I was sick. But I'm here and I'm so excited to talk about the Pisces new moon, which is tomorrow, 2/27/25. And it's going to be lovely. And there's so much great manifesting energy with this new moon. So, if you're new to me, my name is Donnell Davis, and I'm a channel, a healer, and a transformational mentor. And I've been doing this work for 20 years. And I bring all my expertise and love to you to share what the energetics of this new moon are going to be. And I'm not a astrologer by certification. I know astrology. I've been studying it for at least 10 years. But what I'm adept at is reading the quantum field and pulling in the energy and understanding the theme. So I am going to share a little bit about the aspects of this new moon, and what Pisces energy is all about. And then I'm going to channel a little bit, and then I'm going to get into the specifics. Okay. So this new moon, there's a Pisces stellium. So there's a lot of planets in the Pisces sign. And let's get into a little bit about Pisces because I feel like it's going to open up some energy for all of us just by kind of moving into it. Uh, this is an energy when it comes to Pisces. It's so deeply spiritual. When you think about it, it's the 12th house. It's the end of the astrological wheel. It takes a little bit from each sign and it is accumulative and it comes into its totality, and it's your consciousness. It's how you show up in this world on a deeper level. It's also those unconscious and subconscious programs that are running and how that impacts and affects who you are. And if you've ever done work around this, you realize that for so much of our lives, we are programmed to behave a certain way. And then we wake up one day, and I find that for a lot of people, it's, kind of around that, 40s or something. And no offense to anybody earlier, it doesn't mean it can't happen earlier. But there is this time where we awaken, and we ask these deeper questions of who am I? Why am I seeing repetition in my life? Why are the same things happening to me in my relationships or with my work? And we start to kind of wonder, how am I creating this? Is this just happening to me, or is this happening for my evolution? And the latter is Pisces. It's not being in the delusion. It's not being in this sense of like just kind of floating. It's really finding a way to take the bigger spiritual concepts of life and ground them in. And when you can do that, you become this really, life becomes very magical, and you become very masterful at working with energy and your emotions and how you can pragmatically move through life. And I think that's what we all ascertain to be, and have this ability to not be always reactive or looking for instant gratification, to be willing to do the work to be the best version of ourselves. But that requires such a deep level of spiritual surrender and trust, which is a big piece of Pisces. So many of my clients, when they come to me, they wonder why they're going through certain things. Why does this keep happening? And so I talked a little bit about subconscious patterns, right? But there's also something as well, which is our spiritual soul lessons that we're going through. And I think a lot of time people forget that. They think, I'm just being tortured. Why does this keep happening? Your soul wants you to wake up. Your soul wants you to live your best life, not according to what everybody else thinks, not according to ego, but according to what is the best and highest good for you, which takes a very huge amount of truth and discernment. Because if you're still living your life for your mommy and daddy, and you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, even more, what are you doing? I mean, seriously, what are you doing? Your life is your own. And when I say that, I'm being kind of flippant, but I'm also saying that because I meet so many people that They want to make sure that they're still approved or validated by their mom or dad. Their mom and dad might not even be in the picture, but they're still living their life according to that energy because they haven't done the healing work. They haven't stepped into their own sovereignty yet. And so they're finding that they're still looking to external situations, people to validate who they are. And it's really hard to move past and become who you're meant to be in this life if you're still operating under those parameters. So when you have these soul lessons that come through for you, so whether it's your subconscious programming that is creating a lot of your reality, which is a huge piece of it, right? But then there's also soul lessons that are there to help you to expand and get back into alignment. And if you find yourself kind of at a loss, like I feel like with soul lessons, the energy of how you know you're in that is you really have tried doing a lot of work. And the last piece is that you keep resisting it. Like you keep resisting the fact that you're exactly where you are. And you keep thinking, well, God, I have done all the work. I have done all these things. Why does this keep happening? What's wrong with me? And what spirit is trying to do is to get you to release your current parameters so you can step into something new. And as long as you keep resisting and saying, no, I'm too good for this, I've already done the work, or this is stupid that I would have to go through this, you haven't learned you haven't stepped into the energy of surrender. And so, what does surrender look like when it comes to this Piscean energy? It means letting go and trusting God, trusting your higher power, whatever, whoever that is for you, and not saying, I'm trying to surrender. There is no try, there's just do in this work, guys. I mean, let's be real. If I had a dollar for every time somebody's like, I'm really trying to surrender, and I'm like, how's that working out for you? Because it's all up here in your head, it's not here in your body. When you surrender, it means you're letting go of outcomes, expectations, and the way it has to be. And you're just trusting the now moment. You are so wildly present. Okay. So that's the first thing I want you to think about with your life right now as we're moving this Pisces energy and you can manifest some beautiful things. The other thing I want you to think about is where does Pisces fall for you and what house? Um, because that will determine the flavor and the energy. But if you are trying to manifest, but yet you're still trying to control outcomes and you're going to be in an inner conflict. And it's not to say that when it comes to manifesting, because I teach futuring. And if you really want to learn how to future, I have an amazing 5-part video series for $97. You can go to my little summary and you can find the link for that. And it will teach you exactly how to create your future, how to start channeling to receive the intuitive downloads to support you in creating your future. But when it comes to creating your future, if you're wanting to have something happen, the best thing you can do is be really clear and then give it over to God, give it over to the universe, however you want to do it. Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing about this new moon and Pisces energy is that dreaming, manifesting energy that I was talking about. I'd love to see you guys like tell me in the comments what you're going to be manifesting and really work with that house. Like I happen to have Pisces in the 12th house. So for me, it is very much about my consciousness and my spiritual journey and how I could grow through that. So what house is in it for you? But it is going to have that spiritual flair to it. So even if it's in the 4th house, which is family, let's just say, how can you bring spirituality into how you interact with your family? If it's in your work, how can you bring spirituality and your consciousness into your work? Get where I'm going with this? I hope so. Um, and there's going to be a lot of emotional healing and an opportunity to embrace compassion to heal old wounds because Pisces brings up a lot of content. And because there's so many planets in Pisces right now, there's just so much. And I really feel like we're being given an opportunity to alchemize and work on our emotional bodies and our psychic senses before we step into March, before the astrology just like it's almost like it just it flips, it changes, right? And so what can you do in order to prepare yourself so that you are really rooted and grounded and practicing how you're showing up in your life according to your consciousness. Okay. And compassion, Pisces are so empathetic, they're so empathic. I feel like there's so much telepathy with Pisces. There are such old souls, so much beautiful energy. But they're also, so the compassion comes when they can understand other people, but that also can be very overwhelming to be able to feel everybody's emotions and all the things. So, how could you make sure when you're working with this new moon and the Piscean energy that your energetic hygiene is on point, that you're really taking care of yourself, you're moving your body? I find sometimes, especially when I'm tapped into higher consciousness, that the way it works best for me is when I bring it in and then I like let it settle into my body through movement, through dance, through walking. Walking is like such an incredible way to do it because it's balancing the right and left hemisphere. So whatever higher consciousness you're receiving, you can really ground it into your body, which means you can ground it into your life. Okay. This is also very creative, artistic, beautiful energy. So really getting into the ways that you can channel this mystical energy. And for everybody's going to be different. For me, it's like through my meditation practice, and I love, creating art and doing all that kind of stuff. For me right now, my art is food. I'm really having fun with food. But the thing I want you to look out for, the shadow of Piscean energy, is that delusion. It is that addictive energy and literally addiction, right? Of numbing out, of finding ways to not have to be present, and the ways that we aren't truthful with ourselves, the delusion that we live in. Oh my Lord. I have had such an experience with this in my life. Growing up with a father that, was an alcoholic, growing up with a sister that was an alcoholic, and now they're all in recovery, but having an ex that's an alcoholic, all these different people and these energies around me. And I find that in some way, shape, or form, all of us have these little baby things that we numb out with, whether it's like a big thing where, sometimes you see with an addict or an alcoholic, it takes over their entire lives, right? Their consciousness is kind of outsourced to numbing and not feeling because of whatever happened. But then you have people that get overwhelmed by their emotions and they go shopping online because they're like, I just need a bump of like dopamine. I just need to feel better. Oh, I'm so stressed out. Let me come home and let me pour that glass of wine. Friends, 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 friends. Stop bypassing your feelings. Stop bypassing your life and the richness and juiciness that could really come online for you if you stop bullshitting yourself and like pretending like everything's okay when it's not, and just let yourself feel. And I know that is like truth talk from my heart to yours. But I mean, I'm at a point in my reality, in my journey, where I've tried to eliminate as many distractions as possible and be with myself. And it is the hardest and the most liberating work you'll ever do. It's the juiciest, it's the deepest way to come in contact with your consciousness, right? Because there's nowhere to hide. And there's no filter. There's no numbing and lowering your vibration so that all of a sudden, like you're like, let's say you're in it and you're doing really great in life, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to go out this weekend and I'm going to go drink. And then everything that you've been working for, everything that you've been receiving, everything that you've been doing, you kind of just wipe the slate clean and you got to start all over again. So this isn't about, I'm not trying to do a PSA of like, don't drink or don't do this, but really think about your mini little baby addictions and the way that you want instant gratification because you don't want to feel what you're feeling. And start to think about, what would it look like if I wasn't using these things to make myself feel better? Do I know how to resource that within myself? That is the deeper work. That is deep, deep, deep work. But I feel a lot of us have already been called to this path. A lot of spiritual light workers have already been cutting out the numbing, the distractions, all the things. For me, it's like it's with alcohol. I've been alcohol free, I think, for 15, 16 months now. And You find your thing. You check in with yourself because back to that Piscean energy. If you can't tell yourself the truth, right? If you can't see those parts of your life where you're outsourcing and you're kind of fragmenting who you are because you're afraid of being present and really being with yourself and resourcing your own emotions and feelings, then you have a gorgeous invitation, a really beautiful invitation. If you need support, I help my clients with this opportunity of really feeling and being present and slowing down and being with themselves and realizing what trauma patterns they're working from so that they can shift them and change them. So you can always reach out to me and we can talk about what that would look like for you. I do have a group program starting soon called Healing Forward to Become Your Future Self. And it is going to be addressing these types of things. Um, but I want to channel and tell you really quickly the three cards that I'm going to pull, and then I'm just going to tell you the very specific transits. I know I'm speaking lots of truth, but you know what I decided? Part of my Piscean energy that I've grabbed from all the different signs. I've watered down in certain ways, not when I'm working with my clients, but I've watered down my message online because I want to be digestible and palatable. And I don't know. I got to a point where I'm like, but why? But why? Who am I helping or serving by trying to be palatable? It's like I'm only going to be liked by the people that like me. I'm only going to, people are only going to listen to this if they resonate. So I might as well just be me fully and say what I want to say with a loving heart. And from my experience of what I've seen over 20 years of being a healer. And I know that, so many people right now are waking up and wanting to do the deeper work and know their consciousness, but yet they still have these tiny little ways that they distract and get out of, their ability to stay attuned to themselves and their reality and what they want to create. And here's the thing, you guys, when you stay attuned and stay connected to your spirituality and your consciousness and your practices, your rituals, whatever those practices are, for me, it's meditation and exercise. When you stay aligned with that, you will be shocked and amazed at how fast you can create realities. True story. True story. You will be shocked and amazed because there's nothing numbing you out or lowering your vibration. So you get to stay in that space for the most part, even though you might be sad one day or angry or something, you don't dip out. Okay, so let's see. What are the cards? Okay, for our Pisces energy for the new moon tomorrow. Oh, these are fun. So you got the movement, choices, and decisions card. This is a two card. So I'm going to show you the cards first. And then you got the partnerships and alliances card, three card, and then you got the light card, which is the sun and the traditional. So this new moon is asking you to make some decisions. It's saying, what are you willing to take action on? Pisces is a yin energy, right? So you're in your receptivity and you may not be taking action just yet, but what is it that you're conjuring up? What are you deciding? What are you deciding? Where do you need to trust more? Where do you need to um, get your faith muscle activated and so that you can have this beautiful reality? What is that next thing for you? So I want you to decide and start to consider what choices do I need to make that would support me in creating from the inside out. So your consciousness creates your reality, not the other way around. I know that everybody online tells you all this bullshit that like, oh, if I just go do more and get more busy, then my life will change. No, that will expire and you won't be able to keep up with that after a while. We've all who have been, most of us have tried that and you get burnt out and get like sick or whatever happens, right? What I'm talking about is a deeper space of longevity and legacy within yourself of when I work on my consciousness internally, I start to notice my external reality shifting. It's everything I've been talking about. So, what are you choosing and deciding with your consciousness, with your spirituality that you want to co-create with the divine? And then who do you need to align with? The partnerships and the alliances card. Who do you need to partner with? Who can help support your dreams? Who can hold that high vibration? Who is in alignment with what you want to create? And partner with those people, collaborate, bring those people in to help support you. And don't be afraid to shine. Don't be afraid to be in the light of who you are. So to me, this card is saying, dream big. Like, do not play small. I always say God doesn't play a small game, right? God doesn't play small, goes big. And so if there's something that your heart's been dreaming and what you want wants you too. And so this is a card that's about coming into your own inner light, shining that out into the world, working on your consciousness, having fun, being playful, igniting your inner child, because your inner child, by the way, uh, has some of the recipe for how you live in your purpose and your joy. Because your inner child, before it got skewed into like whatever direction, school, society, whatever, there were these little parts of you that are like, I want to play, fashion person, or I want to be a fireman, or I want to do this. It doesn't mean like now you want to be a fireman, but it means that there's something about you, like something that you can remember about your consciousness, what brought you joy, what excited you, and coming back to that. Because these three cards are basically saying, make a decision and partner with the universe, partner with the people that can support you, and don't be afraid to find the joy. Don't be afraid to like ignite that magical inner child of yours that can see beyond, that can be psychic and intuitive and had all this information, but didn't know what to do with it, right? And what if you can bring that magical child back online now? Okay. Because there is so many planets in Pisces. Let me tell you, speaking of all the planets in Pisces right now, we have the sun and the moon, which initiates a cycle of introspection and new beginnings, new moons. We have the Mercury, which is enhancing intuitive communications and introspective thinking. Beautiful. We have Saturn in Pisces, which encourages disciplined spiritual practices and setting healthy emotional boundaries. Heck yeah. Neptune, which heightens sensitivity, creativity, and connections to the collective unconscious. And North Node points towards a collective karmic shift, emphasizing spiritual growth and compassion. That's North Node is going to be in Pisces over the next 18 months. We're going to see a big spiritual theme in our collective. Something I want to say too about the unconscious. If you're wondering what are the unconscious patterns that are blocking you from being your best self, pray about that. Ask about it. Ask your friends. Ha, that's a good one. Ask the ones that you feel would give you loving replies, not like sugarcoating it, but like the ones that would hold your heart and say, where do I seem blocked in my life? What am I missing? If you were to like, be my coach for a day or my guide, where would you say, hey, you're missing this, you're not seeing this. This is your kind of your blinder spot. Are you afraid to ask that question to your friends? I did that recently and it was really enlightening and it was really helpful. And so that's something. And then just the other planetary aspects to know about is Mercury sextiling Uranus. This is innovation, sudden insights, new ideas and perspectives. The new moon squares Jupiter. So Jupiter's in Gemini, prompting us to balance our expansive desires with practical considerations. And then moon square Jupiter, which is in the evening, which can amplify emotions and desires, urging caution against overindulgence or unrealistic expectations. So balancing, right? Balancing. But all that being said, do not be afraid to go big, to get excited, tap into your consciousness, use it as the greatest tool of your life. That is everything to me. Now, the older I get, I think, oh my gosh, if I don't spend time going internal and being introspective, then what am I doing? I'm missing out. You guys are missing out if you're not. So maybe this new moon, you even just commit to having 10 minutes a day where you're breathing and tapping in. My favorite app that I love to use is Insight Timer. And they have tons of free meditations. I love binaural beats so that I can just get my brain, communicating properly the right and left hemispheres. So yeah, lots of things. And if you are looking for a mentor that can support you in working on a few different areas, one being really releasing your subconscious patterns and rewiring them, working somatically on your nervous system, working from a soul level, really becoming the channel and intuiting what's next for you and really working on your legacy, your gifts, your purpose, your power. Look no further. Message me. Let's talk. Like I said, I have a group program coming out, and I really love to support my clients in creating their best life by becoming their future selves now, not waiting till later, in the now, today. So have a beautiful new moon. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you soon.